Welcome to the Childcare Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you are a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Saccoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Childcare Director's Chair.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. I'm your host, Erica Saccoccio, and today we're tackling something so many of us struggle with, but really say out loud, and that is imposter syndrome. You know, that little nagging voice that says, "Who are you to be running the center? What if I fail and everybody sees it?" If you've ever felt like you don't quite belong in the director's chair, trust me, you are in very good company. Even the most confident leaders hear that little whisper of doubt sometimes. So today we're going to break it down. Why do childcare leaders, even the strong and capable ones, often feel like imposters? By the end of today's episode, you'll not only understand where it comes from, but you'll also see that you are far from alone. I want to take you back for a minute. I grew up with very little money. Money was always tight. And the idea of owning a company, never mind building a brand, seemed impossible. I've always been a confident person, but even with confidence, there's always that little voice that says, what if you fail? What if that failure is very public? And I remember asking myself one day, well, what's worse, trying and failing or never trying at all? And honestly, the thought of not even giving myself a chance felt like a bigger failure. And that's the moment I decided I'd rather show up, risk the stumble, and learn as I go than sit on the sidelines letting fear run the show. You know, here's the deal. Imposter syndrome is that belief that your success is a fluke and that you somehow have tricked people into thinking that you're more capable than you really are. And in early childhood education, imposter syndrome finds fertile ground. We are in an industry where expectations are sky high, and the recognition, unfortunately, is often low. And the responsibilities can feel overwhelming. So let's talk about the real reasons behind these feelings. Well, number one, as I mentioned, high expectations in ECE. As directors, we're wearing more hats than a costume closet. One moment, you're a compliance officer, making sure every regulation is met. And then next, you're a financial manager, balancing tuition and payroll. And by the afternoon, you're a therapist for the teacher who's burnt out or that parent who's upset. And when the bar is set this high, it's really easy to feel like you're constantly falling short. But here's the truth. No one can do it all perfectly. And leadership isn't even about perfection. It's about persistence and problem solving. And then there's the comparison trap. We look around at other programs, we scroll through social media, we see the shiny classrooms, the flawless Pinterest-ready bulletin boards, and directors who look like they have it all together. And suddenly our own work doesn't feel really good. But remember, nobody's posting the late night payroll headaches, or the licensing fire drills, or the tough parent conversations. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, and that's never a fair fight. And then there's the lack of validation, which is another big piece. In many industries, leaders get titles, they get promotions, they get bonuses, they get public recognition. In childcare, honestly, not so much. Most of our victories happen quietly. The teacher who stayed because you supported her. The parent who breathes easier because their child is safe and thriving. Or that licensing visit that went off without a hitch. Those are huge wins, but they don't always come with applause. And without validation, it's easy to wonder if you're really doing enough. when in reality, you're accomplishing extraordinary things daily and you're just not focusing on those. And perfectionism, please, let's not skip over that because many of us have this voice in our head that if it's not perfect, it's not good enough. But perfection is an illusion. And when we chase it, all we find is exhaustion and self-doubt. And the truth is, your staff doesn't need a perfect leader, but they do need a consistent one, a compassionate one. And your families don't need perfection either, but they do need trust and stability. So let's call perfectionism what it is. That's the imposter syndrome's best friend, the BFF. And then, of course, finally, isolation. Leadership is lonely, and you're the one making those tough calls and not the ones that people are always happy about. You're balancing those books, managing the staff dynamics. And sometimes it feels like nobody around you truly understands what that weight feels like. When somebody will, come in and, they're complaining about, I don't know, they had to wait in line at Dunkin' Donuts 5 minutes too late. And I'm thinking, how am I making $25,000 a week payroll, right? We all have big problems. We all have those things that we have to deal with. And so it's really important that you don't let that imposter syndrome sneak in because you do need a circle of peers to say, I've been there too. You stop believing when you're the only one struggling, and that's simply not true. You have to remember we all have struggles. And here's something I've learned along the way. Confidence isn't just a mindset. It's also about systems that you have in place. When you know your back-end operations are solid, it takes a huge weight off your shoulders. And that's why tools like Jackrabbit Care can be game changers. When you're doing your billing, your scheduling, your record keeping, and it's all streamlined for you, you get to show up as a confident leader instead of an overwhelmed administrator. So systems create space for confidence to grow. So my friends, as we start to wrap up, I'd like to recap. We feel like imposters because of the crushing expectations and comparisons, and of course, lack of validation, perfectionism, and isolation of leadership. But remember, just because you feel like an imposter doesn't mean you are. And if this resonates with you, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, where in my leadership journey do I hear that imposter voice the loudest? When you name it, it takes away some of its power. If you want to take a deeper dive into this and you want to grow with confidence and surround yourself with other leaders who get it, come join us in the ECE Trailblazers group on September 24th at 6:30 p.m. If you're listening to this today on its release date, that's tomorrow. You can jump in for free for the last 2 weeks of September. And let me tell you, we also have an amazing guest joining us, the one and only Anisha, the ECE best friend. She is amazing. If you don't know Anisha, you will if you come join us. We'll be talking about leadership, confidence, core values, how to align your actions with your vision. You do not want to miss out. And of course, stick with me because our next podcast, tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to get unstuck, practical tools and strategies to step into your confidence, and finally, quiet that imposter voice. Until then, remember, you're not an imposter, you're a director in the chair, and you absolutely deserve to be there.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Childcare Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Saccoccio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.